Hello everybody and welcome back to the Big Joey channel. Today I'm going to be giving you top 5 solo laners. So again, like my last list, this is going to be top 5 solo laners that are really easier to use. That you could step right in and play this god. These are safe picks. So right off the back, number 5, Chalk. So Chalk is pretty much one of these safe, I could say one of the safest picks to pick in the solo lane just because he has a bit of everything. You have his one Thunder Strike, it's really good for poking out. His Torrent, which is also really good for clear. He has a heal and a slow, and his ult gives him CC immunity and knocks up everybody in the air. And it gives you a 50% damage mitigation. So all of that's really great, really good for early game bullying. The ult is really good for late game initiation, and his passive is okay. You know, you get 5 successful basic attacks in, and your next ability doesn't cost any mana. So pretty much, you know, you're down on mana, but you're still in the fight. Hit somebody 5 times, maybe you could ult. So that's going to be number 5, Chalk. Number 4, I'm going to give the spot to Bellona. In her pros, it's high defense. So with Bellona, she is a pretty safe pick as well. Her 1 will give you good CC at max level. You can get 35% slow on an enemy, which is actually really good for chasing down. You hit him in the back. And you get the block deflected 30%. Her 2, her bludgeon, is really great for clearing wave and clearing camps. So when you're starting, you know, you clear your wave, you rotate to your camps, you're going to be able to take out the camp a little bit faster just because of the spin. And her 3 is a disarm, so you're going to get the disarm when you max it out. It's going to be 2.2 seconds. If you're fighting, say, maybe hunters, you're backlining with Bellona, boom, disarm them and beat them down. Now her ultimate, Eagle's Rally, is essentially, you know, you dive through this guy and drop down a flag, which is going to stun the enemies. It's going to give you protection. It's going to give you power. Really good for initiating, say, out of the jungle. You're rotating over to the mid, or you're just trying to start a fight. Boom. Ult in. And finally, it's going to be her passive. It pretty much just gives you 4 protections per stack and a movement speed. So at max, you're going to have 15% extra movement speed and 20 protections. That's going to be 20 physical and magical protections. So again, when you're in the middle of the fight, you're ulting in, you stack the protections from her ultimate with your passive, makes it really good for fighting. And number 3, I'm going to give the spot to Sun Wukong. Now, Sun Wukong he has high defense and high mobility, and with him, his 1 great wave clear. You're going to be able to hit all of them, and minions and jungle camps take an extra 25%. An area ability with a slow, great for chasing down, getting into fights. He has a dash, the Tiger, which you can damage. The Tiger, stun and damage, Ox to knock over enemies, or his Eagle to fly away. His ult, maybe you took some damage, boom, you heal 5% of your health per second. So that's also there. Maybe you got into a fight, and you don't necessarily have to use the ult for fighting. You use the ult, you're going to heal 5% per second, so you're going to heal 25% of your total health back. And his passive, when you go below 40%, you get 10 power and 10 protections, plus 2 power and 1 protections per level. So at max level, at 20, you're going to get 10, 10, just base, and then you get 20 extra protections and 40 extra power. So he's going to be number 3. Number 2, give the spot to actually Vimana. Vimana is actually a really safe pick as well. Simple abilities. He has a wave clear. His line ability, it's going to go through and hit them all and hit them back. Actually, that's what he's going to dash through his enemies. All right, it's a cone ability. It's 2. Simple. You're going to be able to hit a lot of enemies. And 3 is umbrella spin. You're going to get to hit them while the umbrella goes through and back. And on top of that, you're going to get the attack speed / movement speed slow to the enemy. So again, you have a good CC lock ability. His ultimate is a self buff. You're gonna become giant, and you just pretty much stomp around. You get the protections, you get physical power, and again, you're gonna be recharging health 5% every second. If you take damage, you will be able to be in your ult longer, up to 10 seconds. So at max, you could actually, if you're in the middle of the fight with protections, boom, you get to refill 50% of your health. And his passive, a percentage of Vimana's physical protection is converted to physical power. So, you know, if you're starting off in the solo lane against another warrior, which you more than likely will be, open up with early protections to give you damage, and you have the protections. So Vimana, really solid pick, easy to use, easy to pick up. And number 1, Hercules. Hercules is pretty simple. He has a dash attack, which stuns, so really good. You knock somebody into a wall, and you become immune to knockback during the dash. So you say you're fighting, boom, knock somebody in the wall, beat them in the wall. Earthbreaker allows you to pull enemies towards you. So at max range, if you hit somebody, it'll send them to you. You combo it with your 1, boom. His 3, mitigate wounds. It's a heal and a buff. So once you pop it, your initial heal will scale, but also the more damage you take, that percentage will be given back, and you get protection buff. So at max level, you're going to get an additional 50 protections. His ult, pretty simple. It's kind of a skill shot. You also get CC immunity while casting it. You just throw a giant boulder, but this thing can bounce around. So say you're in tight spaces, boom, throw your boulder, you hit people, but it'll do 50% less damage each hit. But it's great for team fights in tight places. And finally, his passive, Strength from Pain. It's a buff, and pretty much you get physical power. It's 5 plus your level. So it stacks up to 3, so at max level, it's going to be 25, I believe that's 75. So it's really good also for being in the center. It's every time you take damage, though. So it's going to be really good for when you're in the fights. So, you know, you hop into a fight, pop your mitigate wounds, you go in from your passive, and you come out with having taken almost no damage, depending on how much protections you have. And overall, he's a really safe pick. He's kind of hard to get countered. If you play him right, you'll be able to out-clear your opponents. So that's going to be it for this list of warriors. I guess honorable mentions would be Guan Yu. Guan Yu is a safe pick because he does have the self-heal, which he has a really decent heal. He did get nerfed a little bit, but it's still fairly useful. His dash, he has a dash, which is also gives a slow, so he has the CC. His 3 is a protection steal and gives you protections. His ultimate, really a good chase down, but also good for starting team fights. And his passive is pretty much when the more you take damage, or the more you give damage or receive damage, and it stacks, and it pretty much just boosts all of your abilities. So Guan Yu gets the honorable mention, just because Guan Yu, more than likely, they're going to build a Brawler's Beat stick if you play Guan Yu. It's going to be the same for Hercules, but Hercules offers a little bit more flex. And Odin as another honorable mention, just because Odin just does a lot of damage, and his ultimate is pretty much an easy way to make them burn a relic. Because if you play Odin, if they don't have any normal escapes, somebody's going to have to buy a Phantom Veil. So with Odin's ult, it's going to reduce all healing. His 1, you have a dive, easy to initiate. His 2 is a self buff. You get a shield around you, and it also increases the damage you deal on your jump. And his 3 is a slow, an area, 40% slow for 2.8 seconds. That's great. So that's going to be it for this list of top solo laners. Again, the majority of the solo laners are just safe picks for when you're just starting out in Conquest. Also, some of them are just good picks overall. Hercules is just a solid pick overall. And if you like this video and like what I'm putting out, you know, make sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends. If you don't necessarily agree with my choices, leave it in the comments. Maybe you think a different warrior is easier to use than the ones I put out. And as always, thank you for watching. This is Big Joey signing off.